Are you ready to learn the art of closing the deal? You know how you can have two people who are selling like pretty much the same product using the same scripts and one of them closes more than the other? Why does that happen? Today, we are going to cover those extra skills and extra strategies that help make a truly phenomenal closer. I'm Amy Walker, Client Acquisition Specialist, and I help clients get consistent, predictable sales through their organic marketing and scalable sales strategies. Welcome back to the Sales Doc. Thanks for joining me for today's Sales Doc video, where we are diagnosing your sales woes so that your sales can be sick. On my channel, I have covered a lot about like the tactical pieces of sales, the sales process, the sales system, the sales team. We've covered a lot about sales scripts, and we've definitely laid a foundation for you to know the basics of sales. That's not what this video is today, my friends. This is the secret sauce. It's that special something. It's the thing that great closers do without even realizing they're doing it. And you definitely are going to want to stick until the end to learn all of these tips. If you've been struggling with inconsistent sales, you know how frustrating this is. It's like you put in the same amount of effort, but some months sales are high, some months sales are low. You never really seem to know what's coming down the pipeline, and your stress level as a result is probably higher. I have been there, my friends. When I first got started in sales, I was actually pretty terrible at it. I felt like I had to work twice as much as everybody else just to kind of hit minimum quotas. And it was really, really frustrating. But one thing that I will say for myself is that I'm very tenacious and I do not give up easily. So I became a student of sales, and I watched not just the process and the language and the logistics, but I also watched the things that great closers did that they didn't even realize that they were doing. And that is what I'm excited to share with you today. So I've got 7 different strategies that I'm going to share with you, these extra secret sauce items. Plus, if you stay until the end, I'm going to share with you the visualization that I use that helps me to close more deals with ease. So what do these phenomenal closers do? The first thing is that they know their buyer. You will watch a great salesperson and they do not spend any time chasing the wrong person. In fact, as soon as they get on a call with the wrong person, they realize this is not my person, and they end the call and they move on. It doesn't have to be a jerk move where you're like, oh, sorry, you don't have enough money to talk to me, but they will qualify that buyer and they will move the conversation outward as soon as they realize it's not the right person. The unskilled closer or the unconfident closer feels like they have to go through the process with everybody because they're never sure who's going to close and who's not going to close. And as a result, they waste a lot of time and they experience a lot of disappointment. You want to know why great closers have such high closing ratios? Because they don't talk to or engage with the people who are not their buyer. They have the confidence in what they do in order to believe that the ideal person is going to buy from them. Number 2, intentions are felt, not faked. Whenever I hear people talking about fake it till you make it in sales, I'm like, good luck with that, because the people that you're talking to feel your intentions. And if you're coming in with desperation energy, or like, I have got to close this deal because I'm going to miss my quota, or I'm not going to be able to make rent, or I won't be able to make payroll, they feel that even if you've got the smile on your face, even if you've got that hyped up energy that so many people teach us we have to do in sales, which by the way, we don't, they're going to feel those intentions. So what this skilled salesperson does is they are intentional and they shift their energy before the sales call. This is something that I'll talk to you about at the end, my visualization that I do. But before I get on a sales call, I do a check-in. And I have to ask myself, okay, where am I at? Am I in scarcity? Am I in abundance? Is my energy high? Is my energy low? Do I feel excited to talk to people? Do I not feel excited to talk to people? And I will do exercises to shift that energy before the sales call. Otherwise, they are going to pick up on it. They feel the vibe and they just are either going to be attracted to you or they're going to be repelled from you. I want them to feel attracted to what I have to offer. The next secret skill that great closers have is they understand the power of questions. If I tell you something, you can choose to accept or reject what I just said. For example, the sky is pink. Now, probably some of you are like, the sky is not pink, the sky is blue. Didn't you learn that in kindergarten, right? But if I were to ask the question, Have you ever seen a pink sky? Now all of a sudden images come to your mind of sunsets and sunrises, and maybe like those times that the sky gets a little eerie right before a storm, right? Like we've seen pink skies in different settings, but because I asked you a question, you came up with the information. Great closers ask more questions than they give facts and information. Great closers listen and get you, the person buying, talking more than we're talking. Because if we're truly creating a great buying context, we should be asking questions that cause you to get information from inside of your head, that cause you to talk yourself into buying, instead of us having to try to talk you into buying. It's a really different flow. The next skill that great closers do is they listen to the whole conversation, not just the words. Did you know that words are only 7% of the total awareness and understanding that we give off in a conversation? What is the rest? Well, 36% of it is the tone, and you have 57% of it that is the body language. What is happening in a conversation is words come out of our mouth, but they are filtered. The tone and the body language will show you the unfiltered thoughts that are going on inside of the subconscious. So little things like when somebody closes their arms and folds them off versus when they open them up. If their foot is pointing towards the door, they're feeling like they want to go. If their eyes are looking side to side, they're hearing other influences inside of their head, and there's somebody else that needs to be pulled into the sales conversation. Have we done training videos on this? Yes, we have. You're welcome to go watch them. But that body language piece is a critical component. And this is why phone sales are harder than in-person sales. You may not know how to break down the body language yet. You could definitely learn, but you definitely pick up on vibes from people based on the movements that you're seeing. So when you're on the phone and you're not doing that, all you have to listen to is the tone of voice. Now, the tone of voice tells you a lot as well. There's a big difference if I were to say I love you versus I love you versus I love you, right? Like they all have a very different feel. That's the tone. So when you are talking with somebody, I want you to just practice. And you don't have to practice first in a sales conversation. Practice first in just a regular conversation. Observe the body language, observe the tone of voice, and listen to the words, and try to create a more complete picture and become a better listener. That is going to help you become a top tier closer. If these tips are helpful, make sure that you, first of all, like the video so that more people can see it. Hello, YouTube algorithm. And then subscribe to the channel so you can get notified every time we release new content, because I'd love to have you back. All right, skill number 5, I'm actually going to refer to my book, the I'm Not a Salesperson sales book. We're going to talk about selling to difficult people. That's a skill that really overwhelms the new closers when you get to somebody difficult and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Whereas a skilled closer just looks at it and they're like, bring it on. I can handle this. So let's jump into the book, and I'm going to share with you a couple of skills. Okay, this is chapter 11 in the book. Also, if you want to get a free digital copy of this, go to www.salesaremything.com and you can download a free book. It's the whole book, free download, go grab it. Okay, so when we're selling to difficult people, there's a few different types of difficult people, and I handle each one differently. So the first one are kind of like the hecklers. These show up more often in group sales presentations. So like if you're speaking and selling to a room, or you've got a board of decision makers, and what they're trying to do is they're going to make jokes, they're going to derail your presentation, they're going to ask questions that are completely irrelevant and try to take you sideways. What they're seeking for is attention. So this is the kid that was the class clown in elementary school and never really grew out of it. So with the hecklers, what I try to do is play with them a little bit in the beginning and get them on my side. Once I've shown them that they're not going to derail me, it's like they lose interest in trying to derail me. And then sometimes they will become your advocate. So that's how you want to handle the hecklers. The second type of difficult person is a know-it-all. So the know-it-all is like, everything's great in my life. I have no problems. I don't need any services of any kind because I am fine. And if you are in the sales conversation and you're like trying to find those pain points and figure out what the needs are, that needs analysis section, they're going to be like, oh yeah, well, we did have that problem, but we figured it out last week, so we're good. So if you have that person, what you want to do with them is understand that there's probably one of two things going on here. One is that they don't want to come across as incompetent or unprofessional. Like they're self-conscious, and as you poke for the pain, they feel like they have to keep moving away from the pain so you don't find it, you don't actually get there. The other option is that they're a pleasure buyer, which means they are not going to buy from pain, and that's not what motivates them, and you need to shift and sell to them as a pleasure buyer. So how do you know which one is which? This is one where you're going to have to trust your gut. If you feel like, I just am not buying this story that everything's fine, I'm picking up the vibe that it's not all fine, which by the way is body language and tone, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to pull back. And so you're going to kind of take the option off of the table. And I do this with what I call a pregnant pause, where I just go, and I'll wait like an extra long time, enough that it catches their attention. This is a pattern interrupt. Their brain has been like defensive. And when I pull back and I go, it makes them kind of like lean in, like, what? And so after the pregnant pause, I'll say something like this. I'll say, I'm not really sure what to do here. Because the thing is, I can help people most when they either have something that they're doing that's not working, they want to fix it, or they have something they want that they haven't been able to achieve yet. I'm just not hearing either of those with you. So is there anything I can do, or are you good? And it's like, as soon as I stop chasing them and pursuing them and I pull back, all of a sudden they'll open up, because the reality is they do want help. They just don't want to look like a fool while they're getting help. They want me to understand that they have value, that they are strong, that they know what they're doing. All of that's good. If they're a pleasure buyer, I may come back to that one if I have time in this video. Okay, the next is the doubter. So the doubter is somebody who they are second guessing everything. They are asking tons of questions about your product, tons of questions about your service. They need a lot of information. They have a lot of doubts. So usually a doubter is somebody who either is one of two types. They're a detail person. They just need a lot of details. If that's the case, give them all the details. Let them gather information, point them in the direction of the studies they need to read to know that they're going to be okay using your product. The other type are people who have been burned before. And if that's what it is, you need to let them tell the story. You need to ask them how they felt about it, and you need to ask them, what do you need to know from me to feel confident that this is going to be a different experience? How can I show you that? And sometimes they'll want to talk to past customers. Sometimes they'll want case studies, referrals, recommendations. There's several different things that they could want, but you need to actually provide it for them. So if you are trying to sell to difficult people, I recommend that you go get that book, read more about it. Plus there's lots of other great things in there, including scripts. The sixth thing that skilled salespeople do is they ask big without worrying if they're going to be too much. You don't have to worry if you're going to be too much for people. Just be what you are and feel confident in asking for more. Because if you feel like you can only ask for a level that you've already achieved, you're only ever going to receive what you already have. If you want to increase and you want to like close bigger deals and you want to move up in your business, you have to be willing to ask for that space that you've never gone before and feel confident that you can deliver the value there. Okay, I am going to tell you how to sell to pleasure people. When you have somebody who is a pleasure buyer, and this is a smaller percentage of the population, I feel like before the pandemic, it was maybe like 15% of the population. This is just my gut feeling. But I do think during COVID that a lot of people were like, I have had so much bad going on that I don't want to hear I don't want you to poke my pain anymore. So there are some people right now who just don't want to be sold to through that traditional model of, finding the need, poking the pain, figuring out where they're at, where they want to be, what's the gap, and kind of drawing from some of those fears and concerns and frustrations that they have. What's shifting with a pleasure person is they still have where they're at, they still have where they want to be, but the pain purchaser is more likely to be motivated by where they're at and the distance for where they want to be. The pleasure buyer is more motivated by where they want to be and then you look at the distance of where they are. They don't need to spend a lot of time poking the pain and figuring out what hurts and what they're frustrated about. They really just want you to see and buy the dream and the vision that they have for themselves, and then they want to see you map out the plan. They also tend to buy easily, and they don't have quite as many levels of overcoming objections that you have to hit. All right, I promised you that I would share with you the visualization that I use that helps me to close more deals. So what I do before I get on sales calls, by the way, this is why I like to do all my sales calls in one day versus having them split out throughout the week. But I do a visualization where I picture myself being like completely calm and neutral. I picture all of the stress, and I imagine it in my mind, all of the stress like leaving my body. I picture all of my like excitement and my goals and my things that I want. I picture them just like setting to the side of me so that I can be completely neutral. And once I feel completely neutral, then I picture having a conversation with the person I'm going to sell to that day. I picture them being incredibly clear on what they want and need and excited and ready to move forward. And then I picture myself simply facilitating giving them what they want. And when I go into the sales conversations with that neutral energy, it helps me to be able to match where they are at and create a more service-oriented sales experience. Plus, I just feel better because I'm not going into it feeling any kind of desperation or stress or guilt or any of those yucky emotions. Like, honestly, just let them go. So now you have it, 7 different things that top-tier closers do in the art of closing the sale. Thank you so much for watching. The next video that I want you to go check out is how to overcome sales objections. Can't wait to see you there.